Imagine this: Kanye West, a hip hop icon on the rise, Grammy in hand, and a passion for fashion. But rather than launching the globally successful Yeezy line we know today, Kanye's first dive into fashion was a brand called Pastelle. This brand had everything: celebrity connections, hype, and a visionary founder. Yet it never saw the light of day. So, what went wrong? Today, we're breaking down why Kanye West's Pastelle failed and became one of fashion's greatest mysteries. Kanye first announced Pastelle in 2005, fresh off the success of College Dropout, and just as late registration was taking off. With his music career in full swing, Kanye had his sights set on another dream: fashion. He wanted Pastelle to be a true reflection of his creative vision, a brand that would blend luxury with streetwear. This was well before Yeezy or even his collaborations with high fashion, so Pastelle was Kanye's first big leap. He quickly gathered a team of designers and creatives who were among the best and brightest, including familiar names like Virgil Abloh, Don C, and even streetwear legend Hiroshi Fujiwara. For Kanye, Pastelle wasn't just a side project, it was personal. It was about making a statement and building a brand that would make him a major player in the fashion world. And the anticipation was huge. But there was one problem: Kanye had no formal experience in the fashion industry. Sure, he'd been to Paris Fashion Week and his style was definitely influential, but creating a fashion brand from scratch, that was a different challenge altogether. Between 2007 and 2009, Kanye was seen rocking pastel samples everywhere, whether at the Grammys, on stage, or in magazine shoots. Fans were obsessed with the jackets, colourful hoodies, and unique accessories he wore. Each public appearance sparked more interest. People wanted to know, when was Pastelle coming out? Magazines hyped it up, calling Kanye the next big thing in fashion. It felt like Pastelle was right on the edge of being released, but it never happened. And behind the scenes, Kanye was struggling to bring Pastelle to life. Fashion industry insiders say that Pastelle suffered from constant design changes and indecision. Kanye, ever the perfectionist, kept changing the brand's direction. One day it was luxury focused, the next it was streetwear. The team couldn't keep up with the rapid shifts in vision, and as a result, the brand's identity became unclear. Another issue? The fashion industry moves fast. Designers typically release collections twice a year, sometimes more, just to stay relevant. Kanye's constant revisions slowed down production, leaving Pastelle in a cycle of delays. Money was another big factor. Starting a brand from scratch, especially with luxury ambitions, is incredibly expensive. Kanye had some resources, but he was also taking major financial risks. Pastelle didn't have the established backers or distribution channels that big fashion houses had. Without investors or a solid infrastructure, Kanye was essentially trying to bootstrap a high-end fashion line, a strategy that's incredibly difficult to pull off. As Kanye's focus drifted, so did Pastelle's direction. In 2008, he was seen in Japan meeting with designers like Nigo, creator of a bathing ape, sparking even more hype. But as Kanye spent more time expanding his own connections, Pastelle was slowly slipping out of his hands. He was also diving deeper into his music career, touring, recording, and creating his groundbreaking album 808 and Heartbreak. Kanye's personal brand was evolving quickly, and while the music was thriving, Pastelle was fading further into the background. Then there was the infamous moment at the 2009 MTV Video Music Awards. Kanye's interruption of Taylor Swift's acceptance speech sparked massive backlash. His reputation took a major hit and his public image was shaken. This scandal was a turning point, not only for Kanye personally, but also for Pastelle. As the criticism mounted, Kanye stepped back from the spotlight. He cancelled his tour with Lady Gaga and took a hiatus. And in that hiatus, Pastelle, the brand that was supposed to define Kanye's entry into the fashion world, was quietly put on hold. Despite its disappearance, Pastelle has left a lasting impression on the fashion industry. Those initial designs, the colourful varsity jackets, bold hoodies, and unique streetwear pieces, have since become iconic. People still talk about Pastelle as a brand that could have changed the game, wondering what it would have looked like if it had made it to stores. Kanye's bold attempt paved the way for his future ventures, including Yeezy, which took a lot of lessons from Pastelle's missteps. So, why did Pastelle fail? It was a mix of Kanye's inexperience in the fashion world, constant design changes, and his evolving personal brand that distracted him from the project. He lacked the infrastructure and financing to keep up with the fashion industry's demands, and his perfectionism led to an endless cycle of revisions and delays. In the end, Pastelle was a case of ambition clashing with reality. Kanye had the vision, the influence, and the hype, but not the resources or experience to bring it all together. Today, Pastelle is remembered as an essential piece of Kanye's story and as a pivotal moment in the fashion industry. It showed that hip hop and high fashion could intersect and pave the way for future celebrity driven brands. While Pastelle may never have reached the shelves, its impact can be felt in the streetwear and high fashion collaborations that are everywhere today. It was the blueprint for a new kind of brand, one that combined celebrity influence with high fashion and streetwear, long before it was a mainstream idea. Kanye's journey with Pastelle was a crucial learning experience. He took those lessons and created something bigger and more successful with Yeezy. Yeezy succeeded where Pastelle failed because Kanye learned to embrace collaboration, partner with major players, and build an infrastructure that allowed his ideas to flourish. Yeezy became the brand that Pastelle aspired to be, with a clear identity, financial backing, and a team that could execute Kanye's vision. In a way, Pastelle's failure was a stepping stone that Kanye needed. Without Pastelle, there might never have been a Yeezy. And without Yeezy, Kanye's influence on fashion wouldn't be what it is today. Kanye's dream of a brand that reflects his creativity and vision has finally been realized, but it started with the rise and fall of Pastelle. So, while Pastelle may have failed as a business, its legacy lives on as a symbol of ambition, creativity, and the sometimes brutal reality of the fashion world. Kanye West's Pastelle didn't fail because it lacked vision. It failed because it needed a foundation that could bring that vision to life. And as Kanye continues to push boundaries in music and fashion, Pastelle remains a reminder of the journey, the missteps, and the resilience it took to build the empire he has today. When Kanye eventually launched Yeezy with Adidas, he approached it with a whole new mindset. He leveraged his experience from Pastelle to make more strategic decisions. He built a support team, aligned himself with the right production and distribution channels, and most importantly, learned the value of patience in the design process. Yeezy was a calculated risk built on the foundation of Pastelle's failures, but it was no longer just about Kanye's personal taste. Instead, it became a brand that embodied Kanye's evolving vision of style and innovation, paired with the reliability and expertise of a major fashion corporation. The rise and fall of Pastelle highlight the journey of a self-made artist pushing boundaries and facing setbacks. Kanye's artistic ambitions often saw friction with the business demands of the fashion world. Yet Pastelle's story is valuable precisely because it didn't succeed. It was an experiment, a concept before its time, one that paved the way for Kanye's eventual success with Yeezy and his impact on contemporary fashion. In today's world, where collaborations between artists and high-end brands are almost expected, Pastelle remains a pivotal piece of Kanye's legacy. It's a brand that exists more as a myth and blueprint than as a product, and its influence is felt in the rise of celebrity fashion lines, streetwear, and the integration of music and style. Pastelle is a testament to Kanye's fearless ambition and his journey to balance art and commerce. Every time a musician or artist successfully launches their brand today, part of that path was cleared by Kanye's bold attempts with Pastelle. For fans and fashion enthusiasts, Pastelle's mystique still holds a fascination. Some of the prototypes occasionally surface online, becoming prized collectibles and sparking further interest. While it never officially launched, Pastelle symbolizes an era where Kanye, the artist, the disruptor, first collided with Kanye, the entrepreneur. And even though the brand didn't succeed in the conventional sense, it ignited Kanye's long-standing influence on both music and fashion. As we look back on Kanye West's career, Pastelle remains a stepping stone and a reminder that failure often precedes innovation. For Kanye, it was a learning experience that ultimately shaped his success. So while Pastelle may not have been the brand he hoped it would be, it was undoubtedly the brand that taught him everything he needed to know for the journey ahead.